Aztecross. Why are we making a video about a gaming monitor? Is the switch finally happening? Are you giving the people what they really want? Aztecross tech tips. I hate to burst your bubble. We're not starting a tech review channel anytime soon, guys, but we do get a lot of gaming around here. So when MSI reached out and asked us to try their MPG 321URXW QD-OLED monitor, fellas, we couldn't turn it down. We had to take it for a test drive. And the beautiful thing is we're gonna be giving this exact monitor away to our community. More on that later in the video. Now, let me just say, when it comes to choosing a monitor, for some reason, this is a piece of hardware that gets overlooked when it comes to choosing your gaming setup. Like, no lie, so many people focus on the GPU, the CPU, the case, the RGB, and then all of a sudden we get to the monitor, and it's just some random monitor that gets thrown up there, which completely defeats the purpose of having a powerful rig. This MPG 321URXW QD-OLED comes in at a whopping 32 inches. 32! Which may not sound like much, but let me just say, you see it in person, it's a lot bigger than what you think. And on top of that, you really don't want a monitor to be too big. 32 inches is kind of that sweet spot. Any bigger than that, and honestly, it's getting too big, at least for my desk. Now, this comes with a 4K resolution panel, and if you notice, everything is extremely sharp on the display. Games, movies, YouTube videos. By the time you get close enough to make out the pixels, you can't even see the monitor anymore. You're just squinting at the corner. Now, I would say the stand was a lot heavier than I was expecting, which is great because it allows it to have great stability. The stand has tilts, swivel, height adjustments, and even pivots, which is great for getting the monitor position exactly how you like it. However, the stand doesn't rotate a full 90 degrees, which means you cannot use it in portrait mode. At the same time, though, you could, of course, opt out for the stand and just mount it. Now, this monitor is VESA compatible. So if you already have a stand and you're swapping this out for another monitor, it's super easy. Now, at this point, you may have also noticed how thin the actual display is. Thanks to the QD-OLED panel, all that technology is condensed into a super shallow depth, which felt very sturdy here. The build quality here is top notch. Now, many like myself probably wondered what the hell MPG means. Apparently, it stands for MSI Performance Gaming, because it's not enough that this monitor is just 4K. It's also sporting a 240 Hz refresh rate, which is my favorite. Let me just say this, if you have a gaming rig that can pump out 240 frames per second, but you're rocking a 60 Hz monitor, fellas, you're losing out. And for my more technically inclined people out there, this monitor is rated at 0.03 milliseconds gray-to-gray response time. This is what measures how fast the pixels on the monitor can change from one shade of gray to another. Essentially, what this boils down to is that the monitor is fantastic for competitive gaming, while also still being absolutely sexy. It's buttery smooth. You can almost feel the colors just gliding off the surface. Dude, I still remember the day when 1080p 120 Hz was like the next level of technology. And here we are, seeing 4 times the resolution at double the speed, and somehow able to pull it off on a QD-OLED panel. Now listen, I'm still not used to just how good OLED panels look in person. The colors are extremely vibrant. There's no bloom around the white text on black backgrounds. The display can also get really bright, but without bleeding. And this particular monitor is a VESA certified display HDR True Black 400 monitor, giving it a peak brightness of 1000 nits. So even with the lights on in the room, I have no issues getting immersed in whatever I'm watching on this display. Movies look just as good as they do on the best of TVs. Now, I just gotta say, guys, I really like what MSI has done here with the size of the bezels. They're extremely thin, which is giving you all the real estate necessary here without being too bulky. It's one thing for a display to look nice, but having those chunky bezels isn't exactly my favorite when it comes to multiple monitors. The viewing angles are also really good. This panel is rated at 178 degrees, which is all anyone could ever need. Hell, fellas, if you're using a monitor almost perpendicular and you're complaining about viewing angles, we might need to sit down and have a conversation on neck health, because that's just unhealthy, man. Now, the part that really scares a lot of people when it comes to OLEDs is the care. Trust me, I've been there. Even just a few years ago, purchasing an OLED monitor for myself was almost like signing a death warrant for your gaming setup on day one. That's because burn-in was such a problem for desktop PCs. Unlike TVs, a desktop has a lot of bright static elements on the screen, like your taskbar and your HUD inside games. However, the amount of innovation we've seen to overcome these weaknesses is incredible. MSI has a suite of tools built into this monitor called MSI OLED Care 2.0. This combines a number of technologies to reduce that risk. It comes with pixel shifting, panel protection, static screen detection, and multi-logo and taskbar protection. On top of it all, MSI guarantees a whopping 3-year warranty for their OLED panels that includes protection against burn-in issues. So not only do you get that built-in protection, but also the peace of mind knowing that if the panel does burn in, MSI has it covered. Now, this monitor also features your normal display ports, but also 2 HDMI 2.1 ports. Dude, I still remember us doing the promo for HDMI 2.1. The craziest thing we've ever done. Just straight up sponsored by HDMI 2.1. But hey, man, it's the future. Now, there's also a lot of connectivity for peripherals underneath the monitor. You've got 2 USB 2.0 Type A ports, 1 USB 2.0 Type B port. There's even a Type C port with a 90-watt power delivery. So if you've got a laptop that supports it, you can actually use this monitor as an external display and charge your laptop at the same time, which is super convenient. But probably one of the neatest features here is that MSI has built a KVM switch right into the monitor. This means that if you're actually running multiple PCs, you can plug in a mouse and keyboard directly into the monitor and then control both of those PCs at the same time. Now, this of course is not a feature everyone can take advantage of, but as someone who uses 2 PCs, I have a gaming rig and a streaming rig. And yes, I could have 2 mouse and keyboards hooked up to it, or I can literally have it hooked up to the monitor and go seamlessly from one PC to the other. And finally, would it really be a gaming monitor without mentioning the RGB? That's right, guys, there's RGB on the back. And if you already have a setup with MSI hardware, then you can easily sync up the RGB using MSI Mystic Light. Overall, I think this is a phenomenal display, and it's up there with some of the best that money can buy, especially if you're a gamer who already has a really good PC setup. And trust me, once you get yourself a good quality monitor, you'll never want to go back. So guys, if you're interested in completing your gaming setup with the MSI MPG 321URXW QD-OLED, visit the link down below in the description to snag one today. We're also going to be running a giveaway for this monitor tomorrow. For anyone that comments on this video right here, the giveaway will take place, and the winner will actually have their name pinned down below on the pinned comment, and we'll also reach out to you direct. So big shout out to MSI for sponsoring this giveaway, guys. Fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching, and as always,
slap that like button like your mama told you right.